Signs God is protecting you from a bad relationship. Many people find themselves in bad relationships because they're not aware of the signs that it's not right for them. In this video, we'll explore some common signs that God is trying to protect you from a bad relationship and help you find a better match. Why you might be feeling protected from a bad relationship. If you've been feeling protected from a bad relationship lately, it might not be a coincidence. Signs abound that God is working to keep you safe and away from hurt. Here are 5 reasons why you might be feeling this way. Number 1, you're noticing fewer negative encounters. If your intuition is telling you that something bad is headed your way, it's probably because it is. And when things are going smoothly, the opposite tends to be true. You tend to encounter more negative situations. That's because when things are going well, we tend to take our guard down, and let our guard down leaves us more vulnerable to hurt. Number 2, you're avoiding unhealthy relationships. It may seem like the only healthy option at the moment, but avoiding unhealthy relationships is always the right thing to do. When we stay away from people or situations that make us feel uncomfortable or insecure, we protect ourselves from getting hurt in the long run. Number 3, you have better luck finding peace and inner stability in happy moments than in unhappy ones. Happiness creates an energy field which attracts good things into our lives, including healthy relationships and positive experiences. If you're sensing that God is trying to protect you from a bad relationship, it's important to stay faithful to yourself and do your research. There are many healthy, loving relationships out there waiting for you. Don't let anyone else control your life. You're worth it. Number 4, you're noticing that bad things are happening to other people instead of you. When something bad happens to someone we care about, it can be incredibly painful. But it's important to remember that bad things don't happen to us because they want to. They happen because we're open and vulnerable to them. And as long as we stay guarded, we'll not always be vulnerable to hurt. Number 5, you're feeling overwhelmed and helpless. It sounds crazy, but when we feel overwhelmed and helpless, it actually makes us more susceptible to hurt. We stop trusting our intuition and start relying on other people for guidance. And when that trust is broken, it's really hard to rebuild it. So if you're feeling like God is protecting you from a bad relationship, it might be a good idea to take some time for yourself and reflect on what's important in your life. How to identify if God is protecting you. When someone is in a bad relationship, it can be hard to tell if it's the right thing for them to stay in that situation. But there are ways to identify if God is protecting you from a bad relationship. One way to know if God is protecting you is to ask Him for guidance. Ask Him what He wants you to do and how He wants you to react in a given situation. If His guidance leads you to believe that it's not the right thing for you to stay in a bad relationship, then it's best to leave. Another way to know if God is protecting you is to look at your circumstances objectively. If everything in your life is going wrong, it might be tempting to think that it's your own fault. But sometimes things happen that we can't control. If everything bad that's happening in your life is outside of your control, then it might be a sign that God is protecting you. If you're unsure if God is protecting you, it's always best to consult with Him. He knows what's best for you and will guide you in the right direction. If you are in a bad relationship and want to get out, there are resources available to help. You can find information about breaking up with someone online or in books like The 7 Principles of Breakup Survival. If you're unsure if God is protecting you, there are a few ways to tell if God is protecting you from a bad relationship. Ask Him for guidance, look at your circumstances objectively, and consult with Him. If all of these fail, it might be time to break up with the person. Steps to take if God is protecting you. If you are in a bad relationship and feel like God is protecting you, there are steps you can take to increase your protection. First, try to understand why God is protecting you. Sometimes people get into bad relationships because they are looking for someone to rescue them. However, rescuing someone only leads to more problems in the future. When you become dependent on someone else for your happiness, you put yourself at their mercy and they can always choose to leave or hurt you. Instead of depending on somebody else for your happiness, try to find things in your life that make you happy. When you focus on what makes you happy, it will be harder for somebody else to take that away from you. Additionally, it is important to stay positive. Even if the relationship is bad, there is always the chance that it could get better. If you start focusing on all the things that are wrong with the relationship, it will be much harder to get out of it. Finally, it is important to talk to somebody about what is going on in your life. Talking about your problems can help reduce stress and allow somebody who can help to intervene. Why you may be feeling protected from a bad relationship. There are a few things you can do to help you feel protected from a bad relationship. First, take stock of your current relationship. Are there any red flags or warning signs that something is wrong? If so, take action and address them. Secondly, stay positive and hopeful. You may be feeling scared and unsure, but resist the temptation to give up on your relationship. God may be working even now to protect you from a bad situation. Keep believing in Him and trust that He will lead you through whatever challenges lie ahead. Finally, ask for help. If you find yourself struggling in your relationship, reach out to friends, family members, or clergy for support. They can offer guidance and wisdom in times of crisis. How to recognize when God is protecting you from a bad relationship. If you're considering breaking up with your significant other, it's important to remember that God is always on your side. Here are some signs that He's protecting you from a bad relationship. 1. You don't feel like you need to justify your decision to break up with your partner. In fact, you may even feel like you're being too honest about why you're ending things. This is a sign that you're confident in what you're doing and that God is with you. 2. You're not afraid to stand up for yourself and your own interests. If your partner starts treating you poorly, it's natural to want to stay put and take the abuse. However, if you have the strength to walk away from something that isn't good for you, then God is definitely supporting your decision. 3. You know when it's time to cut ties with someone who isn't good for you. Even if your partner seems like they don't mean to hurt you, it's important not to keep hanging around them if they're causing problems in your life. If there's no chance of reconciliation, then it's time to move on. Why would God protect you from a bad relationship? God would often protect people from bad relationships for a number of reasons. First, many people in bad relationships don't recognize that they're in a bad relationship until it's too late. They may think they're still in a happy relationship even though all the signs are there that it's not really working out. God may choose to protect them from this because they could easily fall victim to the wrong person and end up with a lot of heartache. Second, when someone is in a bad relationship, they may be putting themselves in danger. They may be getting physically or emotionally abused, or their partner may be cheating on them. God may choose to keep them safe so that they don't get hurt even further. Finally, people in bad relationships often put their own happiness last. They might put themselves through a lot just to make their partner happy, but eventually this wears them down. God may choose to remove them from the situation so that they can find happiness on their own terms and without any sacrifice. If you find yourself in a bad relationship, it's important to remember that you are not alone. There are likely warning signs that God is protecting you from this situation. Here are 3 things to watch for. 1. You feel stuck in the relationship. This may be because you don't have the energy or courage to leave, or because you think your partner is the best thing that has ever happened to you. Either way, if you find yourself feeling like you can't escape, it might be a sign that God is working on your behalf. 2. You feel like everything is wrong with the relationship. This is often a sign that something is seriously wrong. If there are constant fights, or if you can't go a day without feeling upset, it's probably time to take a step back and assess the situation. 3. You start to doubt yourself. This might include doubting your feelings, doubting whether or not the relationship is really worth it, or doubting whether or not your partner loves you. If this starts happening frequently, it might be time to rethink your involvement in the situation. If you're feeling like God is protecting you from a bad relationship, it's not crazy. In fact, there are many reasons why He might be doing this. Sometimes an unhealthy relationship can cause us to lose trust in Him and His plans for our life, which can lead to negative consequences down the line. On the other hand, when we stay rooted in Christ and open our hearts to receive His protection, we can build a foundation of safety that will see us through any tough times. So don't bottle up your feelings, let them out in prayer and ask God to help you understand what He is doing in your situation.